Hello there, dads. I just want to take today and talk about the relationship between time and action, right? And the reason why I want to talk about this is I'm not really into journaling that much, but I find an old journal of mine, and I actually wanted to write some stuff down about my son, who's been born relatively recently. So wanted to remember some of the details, and I've never really been a massive journaling fan, to be honest. So I thought this was empty. But then when I flicked back, there was a few entries from July 2021. So at the time of recording this video, almost 4 years ago. And it got me thinking about the impact of time and deliberate action. So we tend to think, or I did, especially that, time will solve everything, right? Like when I have more time or when I get to 40, I'll have these things worked out. Like I always remember this narrative in my head that when I signed up with a career coach for the first time in 2019, when I wasn't feeling very happy with what I was doing as a career and in my life, to be honest, that it would all work itself out, right? Be fine. It'll all work itself out. And then I had this real clear vision of, do I want to be doing what I was doing? Odd. Do I want to be doing what I was doing when I'm 40? And it really scared me, to be honest. It really scared me, the thought of life being exactly the same and doing the same thing and feeling what I was feeling then. And a couple of years later, I was sort of working out and working through what I wanted to do. Like I hadn't necessarily nailed down the exact career path that I wanted to take. And this is about the time where I'd found this journal. And it's interesting, some of the things that I talked about in here in comparison to the things that I've done in the 3 years since, and the actions that I've taken and the deliberate action that I talk about all the time. So I'm just going to read it. I'll read a little bit here, just because I think it's really illuminating. So it says, I've been too reliant on computers and been keeping too many things in my head over the years that I think have contributed to me not being able to articulate what I want or what I'm feeling particularly well. There's so much in there that tends to get confused. I think that I'm taking a step back from goals for the next few months and taking a proper look at myself to understand what I want to achieve. I've been thinking too long term or putting in goals that have no real connection or no real detail to what day to day will be in order to achieve those goals. I want to fully analyze new ways that hopefully satisfy my dharma. So I've just been reading Jay Shetty's book. That means my purpose, and be super focused on what the actual process is, not be lured in by the overall project or scheme, because in reality, you'll be living in day to day. I feel like I want to be brilliant at everything straight away, whereas this time I want to take it one step at a time, but be really consistent. I'm also very determined this time to make this work, as I need to be more self-compassionate and find my purpose with service. And it was around then that I was looking at, coaching courses and stuff as well. But it's really interesting to reflect back on the fact that I was really struggling with the whole idea of taking deliberate action, right? And from that point, that's something I really, live by and I talk about all the time. And that's one of the main philosophies of how I want to live my life. Like if you don't take responsibility and don't take the deliberate actions to get you towards your goals or to become the dad that you want to be or the man that you want to be, then it's not going to happen. And in that time, right, July 2021, I was not taking the actions, right? I was just running. I wasn't really taking time to reflect. I wanted things to happen really quickly without putting in the reps, without going through all the actions that needed to happen for, to get that compounding effect. And one of the other really interesting passages I saw like a couple of pages later, there only was about 3 entries in here, but it says, I think I'm just a serious overthinker. I need to try and calm my brain down a bit. Rather than think about things, I need to start doing a little bit more. I have this feeling that I always talk a big game, but I don't necessarily want to action anything afterwards. And again, like I think that was a narrative that I built up in my head over the last 10 years that I'd never committed to anything. I talked about things all the time or taken big action, but I never really did anything, which wasn't true, of course. Like I'd set up a couple of my own businesses before and did lots of things, but that thought process or that narrative was definitely holding me back a little bit. But again, from that point, I have taken lots of action, right? Lots of deliberate action. I've paused. I had to think about what I wanted to do, and I pursued that path, right? And reflected regularly on whether it was right for me. And here I am, sort of 4 years later, I built up a different career, helping dads, smash it at work without sacrificing their family relationships or their health. But it's taken action, right? And it wasn't just from 2021 to 2025. This didn't just magically happen. Time didn't solve all things. The only thing that actually made a difference and actually made a massive change in my life was taking an absolute load of deliberate action, taking a little pause to reflect on what I actually wanted, what my gold standards were, even though I didn't articulate it like that in there. That's what it was. Like, what do you actually want? What do you care about as a person, as a man, as a dad? And how are you going to get there? What are the actions you take to get there? And that's sort of it, right? Deliberate action can make a huge difference in your life, but you've got to start. Hope you enjoyed this video and got something from it. I'm really enjoying creating these. So I'm going to be creating lots and lots of videos. So please do me a favor and subscribe and share if you find it useful. Cheers.